Hi, my name is Mark Joseph. I'm a South Florida family law attorney. And here are the top 5 questions you should ask a family lawyer during a consultation. For those who are regulars of this channel, I typically suggest that if you or someone you know has a family law matter, to contact our office and we'll set you for a consultation. In this video, I'm going to discuss the top 5 things you should ask during this consultation. But before we get into it, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can be updated when we post new videos. The first question you should ask your attorney during a family law consultation is, what is the law on the particular facts or issues that you have? So when you go into a consultation, the attorney should, whether it be through the intake process or in the actual consultation, ask you about what's going on in the facts behind your case. So if it's a paternity action, they'll probably ask about how long you were with the other person, when you guys separated, when the child was born, and how you guys, let's say, arranged the time sharing or custody of the child. If it's a divorce, they may ask those same questions, but they may ask questions about the finances and income. All these things are the facts of your case. When you give all those facts and the attorney will ask some questions, you definitely want to know, how does the law apply to the facts of your case? There's standard Florida law, and then there's case law, and then there's just these nuances that fall in between those things. Where your facts come in, it'll fit somewhere in there. Sometimes it's more typical, sometimes it's more unique. But you definitely want to know how the law applies to the facts of your case. The reason why you'd want this information is because it'll give you a true assessment as to how you think the case is going to turn out. There's no magic to what we do as lawyers. Usually based on our experience, training, skill set, the judge, and the issue, we can come up with the best idea of where your case can be at its worst and where your case is at its best. Your goal in this consultation is to get this lawyer's perspective on where your case falls. The second thing you should ask the attorney during your family law consultation is if your case is more typical or unique. While this seems very simple or minor, it's so important for you to understand the uniqueness of your case. Not that every family is the same, because it's definitely not. Every family is different. But you want to make sure you have an idea of whether this is a case that happens all the time, or is this a very unique set of circumstances. If your case is typical, you can more so expect a better, more confident outcome of how the case is going to go. And if so, then you can basically feel more comfortable with what the attorney suggests. If your case is more unique or even complex, it definitely leaves more room that the result is a little bit more broadened. And in some cases, your case may be what is called a new question of law. Sometimes not every family fits into that day-to-day scenario. So if you have a unique set of case facts, that your case may be that case of first impression. We've had a few of those in our office, and we've even gotten a really good appeal from one of those types of cases. But when you're deciding the attorney you get, you need to know how experienced your attorney would be in those more unique, nuanced situations. This is when you start kind of separating out the level of attorney that you get. And not to say that anybody is better than anybody else, but there are some attorneys who practice largely falls into the more typical situation. And then you have the attorneys who either through experience or just direct specialty gets more unique set of circumstances. Some examples of these things may be 3-parent households, people with unique jobs and circumstances, people with children with special or exceptional needs, high profile cases, high conflict cases. These are all things where Although some facts of it can be typical, much of it is unique or complex, where you want to make sure the attorney you get has the experience, training, or at least the resources to navigate your case. The third thing you should ask an attorney during your family law consultation is how the law firm works. To break that down a little more, you have to understand that not every attorney or every law firm is exactly the same. You have some attorneys, it's just them and maybe an assistant who are called or considered solo practitioners. Then you have different levels of people with firms with more staff. And sometimes it can be considered a small firm, mid firm, or a large firm. Now, most family cases, usually you'll find the attorneys go anywhere from the solo practitioner end to maybe small or medium. However, it is important to know what type of firm this attorney is a part of. Us, we'd be considered more of a small firm. There is not only myself as the lead attorney, but we have a team of other attorneys as well as staff members who have dedicated roles in our firm. There's pros and cons to all these types of areas. And if you are more interested in doing so, if you guys as a whole want to know more about this, I could do a separate video discussing this. But it is important for you to understand what type of firm structure the attorney is in and how that affects your case. The fourth thing you'd want to ask the attorney during a family law consultation is, what is their litigation philosophy? Now, that's a loaded question, I'll be honest. But essentially what you want to find out is, when it comes to them as an attorney, as a practitioner, as someone that's going to represent you, how do they see your case and how would they flow your case? Some cases are straightforward. It's just a matter of getting the pleadings filed, getting whatever discovery you need, and going to mediation and getting it settled. Some cases are more complex, more litigious, and honestly, it just has to go to trial. What you want to have an understanding of is not only where the attorney sees your case going, but in general how they run their cases. Some attorneys can vary in terms of this philosophy. You have some attorneys who are just more about resolution and mediation, which has its benefits. And then you have some that are more about litigious, going to court and fighting the good fight, which again, it has its own benefits as well. What you also have to understand is how you see the case going, how you'd want to see the case going, and make sure that this philosophy and idea kind of gels with the way you want this case to run. It doesn't mean one attorney is better than the other, but if it's an attorney that it doesn't go with the way you want to do things, it's always going to be bad. The fifth thing that you'd want to ask the attorney during a family law consultation is, what is their rate and retainer? I mean, it seems like that'd be the first thing, but I do have a belief that the first thing you should be doing when you get into a consultation is to make sure you understand the facts of your case and what options you have. The second goal, obviously, is to know how much it'll cost. To the extent of understanding how much it costs, you need to understand that attorneys and the type of cases may vary in terms of how paying and compensating the attorney works. There are some attorneys in some cases that have what is called a flat fee structure, where you pay one price for the whole case or portions of the case as it comes along. And then you have a structure where it can be hourly based on a retainer, where you pay an X amount down, and then there's hourly rates based on the attorney's work as well as his staff, and that comes out of the retainer. And as that retainer depletes, at some point, if the case is not done or not near completion, you may be required to renew or replenish that retainer to continue on with representation. One thing that I always say, and I guess the best way to summarize the cost of a family law case, it costs about the price of a car. What type of car? Well, what type of family case? Literally, how much your case will cost really depends on your facts. If it's a run-of-the-mill, just gets you the point A to point B case, then it tends to be a lot less than when you have the Ferrari of cases with complex issues, unique circumstances, high conflict, parents just not getting along about anything. It's gonna cost. So you keep this in mind when not only are you trying to get and consider an attorney, but when you get your case and consider how you want it to go. So those are 5 things that you should ask an attorney when you're consulting on a family law matter. If you or someone you know has a family law matter and would like to consult with an attorney and even ask these 5 questions, feel free to contact our office. We'll get back to you. We'll set you up for a consultation. We'll see how we can help you. My name is Mark Joseph. Thank you for watching.